Welcome, everybody. It's time for Train Tuesday, and I hope you guys out there are getting some modeling done. I hope you're getting some fun stuff done while you're out there in Cyberland. And speaking of Cyberland, let's see who's out there to join us this afternoon. Looks like we got a pretty good crowd here. We've got Jonathan. We got Chris. Looks like Brady's Trains just showed up. Who else we got out here today? We got Christian Brown saying good afternoon. Let's see. Needs to quit one at Gmail. Interesting name. Welcome aboard. Let's see. We got KC on board. Who else do we have today? We got Jason and Nick. All right. Chase, Chris Forrest. A lot of Chris's today, and Christopher. Mr. Derek Glass. He is in here, and he's eyeing something I got on the table. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I've always got eye candy for you guys. Man, I'll tell you what, it's been weird here in East Central Illinois. Last week, I think I told you we had snow. This week, it's 84 degrees. So if you don't like the weather, chances are just wait a minute. It's going to change. Coming on board, we got Rusted Rail. We got Tyler. Mr. Steve Anderson. Hello, sir. How are you? We got Steven. And now we're going to run to Steve's. We got Steven. Hey, Steve. Oh, D'Angelo. He's ready to go. So just like we always talk about towards the end of the month, we talk about N-scale. Now, you N-scale guys, I know what you're thinking. That's right, Jim. You saved the best for last. Well, you know how it goes. It's one of those things where as much as I love N-scale, I love HO too. And so I've got stuff for the HO guys as well. So don't give up. We are going to talk about some new N-scale product, but HO guys, hang out. I got some good, cool stuff for you. And I got a new segment that I'm going to be talking about today at the show because guess what? Things are opening up. Things are changing in the country and shows are starting to come back. Well, they're like somebody said in the comment section, they're coming back like my goatee's coming back. So that's a good thing. I can't wait to see a lot of you guys at the shows and talk to you guys and see your modeling. And hopefully some of you guys out there that are in the comment section, hopefully you've got layouts you're bringing to some of these shows because I want to see your modeling work. There's some great talent out there. All right, one more round, and then let's get to it. We got Rick on board. We got Kevin. We got Curtis, Chris, Model Train Novice. I see you out there, and it's great to have you on board. All right, so like I was saying, we're going to talk a little bit about N-scale today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. The first thing we're going to talk about is tank train. Now, if you guys are here at the beginning of the month, we talked a little bit about the tank train. Really cool setup, but let's get to the pictures here. Now, like I said, the tank train came out around 1977. And it's unique in that it's basically an articulated style tank car. It's a bunch of tank cars all stuck together with a hose so that they can back these things siding, some type of oil refinery siding, something of that nature. And they don't have to individually spot those tank cars and unload each individual tank car. They actually can be done as a group. All right. Now, sorry, guys. We're going to have to keep me minimized over here because remember, if I take myself out of the picture, bye-bye sound. So we're not going to do that until we get a little bit of some workaround to that. But let's talk about these real quick. So like I said, these came out, and GATX introduced these in the late 70s. And it really was for those large industries, like these big oil refineries and things of that nature. And if you've ever seen these, look out west in the California area, and you'll see these huge oil refineries. And they don't just have one or two spurs. They've got spur upon spurs. They look like huge yards. Now imagine spotting a tank car. You would keep a guy in a switch locomotive busy all day. With these tank trains, they could just be all put together and as like a unit train and unload and load very easily from one location. And they're not quite as common now as they used to be. You still see them out west. I had done some digging. I thought I had seen these in Illinois, but I could not find any photographic proof through my archives. That doesn't mean they haven't come out here. It's just I can't find any proof from my rail fanning expeditions. But just like the HO scale versions, we're going to do these in 3 different eras for you N-scale guys. This first one you see here is probably the most common, most famous, that big orange and white tank train logo on the center of the tank car. Real big lettering. This came out in 1977, and you can see how many different road names we're doing. Now let me zoom in on this so you guys can see all that cool detail. Now again, you need to order these at your local hobby shop or your online dealer by Friday, April 30th, the day before May, or else you're going to miss out on these. And these were very popular in N-scale the last time because N-scale guys have an advantage. They can build some extremely long trains in a small amount of room. So if you're into Fremo N-track, or you just have a really big N-scale layout at home, you're going to want to take a look at these. Like I said, these are the 77 era tank trains. And they represent basically the first run of these tank train assemblies. Now, going a little bit further down the road, here's a more modern version. This is the 2005 plus version. A little bit different. You don't have the tank train logo on there, that famous tank train logo, but you've got your reflector stripes, your identification stripes here, smaller reporting marks, pretty common with tank cars of the modern era. And you can see here all the different ones that we have that are available. So if you're modeling, you know, modern day 2005 all the way up to now, these are the cars you're going to want to get. So we've got the 70s, we've got the modern era. We didn't want to forget the guys in the 80s and 90s. We get a lot of guys asking for 80s and 90s stuff, and check it out. We've got the 1986 version. Very much like the 77 version. However, the logo has been really subdued, as you can see here. Same tank train logo, just a little bit smaller. So we've got something for every era here. Now, one of the things that it bears repeating is these tank trains, they're all going to have body-mounted couplers, and they're going to have metal wheel sets. So if you're in one of the types that likes the smaller scale track, say the Code 55, which is real common, these will work fine on those. But if you want to run on even, say T-track, where they use a Cato standard, they'll work fine on those too. So these metal wheel sets will work great on all of those different rails. So what do we got? Anybody got any questions on the tank train? I mean, you could really make an incredible train with this. And I mean, you can mix and match these depending on what year you're doing. So if you're doing the 80s to the early 90s, there's two different versions you can get. If you're doing modern day, you'd probably want to stick with the 80s and the newer ones. You'd have to do some work on the 80s one to bring it up to current FRA standards, but you could definitely do it with a little bit of work. No, Joel, they do not come with oil. No oil. I mean, unless your hands are greasy. If your hands are greasy, well, then they come with oil. Now, Tyler's got a good question. I'm going to throw it up here real quick. Tyler wants to know, the tank train's limited stock. Okay, so here's what's going on. What you want to do is you want to go to your dealer and pre-order them. And I'll tell you why. I've missed out on so many different things. Even working here at Athern, I've missed out on stuff. We always seem to order a little bit just to kind of help out the hobby shops in your area, but that doesn't always mean that there's going to be stock. Doesn't mean that just because you didn't pre-order, you can just roll into your hobby shop and happen to pick one of these up. Not all the time. And that N-scale big boy that a lot of us have been waiting for, that's a great example. So to ensure that you get these, call your dealer and say, hey, I want to get, give them the part numbers, make it easy on them, and he will pre-order those for you. Now, these are going to be due next spring. So that's spring 22. So about April of 2022, your dealer will give you a call and say, hey, remember those tank trains you ordered? They're in stock and they're ready to go. And by then, I'm hoping a lot of the N-scale guys are going to be back at it on Fremo N and N-track and T-track and all those other great modular setups, not to mention their home layouts. So again, tank train, you got till Friday. Get down there before your hobby shop closes because you don't want to miss out on these. All right, so today's pretty much a little bit of everything for everybody, which I like it that way. We don't want to just do tank trains. I want the modern guys in N scale. Raise your hand out there. You know, how many modern guys are out there in N scale? And I mean, modern seems to be pretty popular with N scale, whether it be the intermodal, the TOFC. You can certainly do a lot more as far as size in N scale versus HL. So the next one I want to show you all is our Huskies. And no, not the cute, adorable dog. What I'm talking about here is our N-scale 48-foot Husky Stack Well Cars. So a few weeks ago, we talked about these in HO. These are in the ready-to-run line in HO, but in the N-scale, they're ready for you to go. These are great standalone well cars. They are a great and easy way to make some intermodal stack trains. Yeah, you know, we talked the last time, why would you have just a one car stack train? And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of the reasons is weight. Now, if you get too much weight in one of those containers and it's not evenly distributed between a 5-unit set, it can cause some problems. And then another thing is just logistics. Most of the time, these come from a port where they're loaded from a ship to the train, and then they go to a distribution center. But there are times that there are companies or industries that are somewhat smaller, and they don't need a 5-unit stack train. So not quite like a boxcar, a little bit different, but still for a medium to mid-sized customer, these are a lot easier to get in and out of their industrial spurs. So what we're offering here, this is mainly 1990s to 2000s. We've got the original trailer train paint scheme. Now each one of these, you can get just the car itself, but the last part number that you see there, this one right here, actually comes with a 48-foot container already in it. So as an added bonus, you can get it with one of the containers. Now we're doing the, like I said, the original trailer train. And the one that I'm excited about, for all you guys that are doing early BNSF and N-scale, these are the ones you're going to want to order. These are the early BNSF, what they call the Circle Cross logo. And it's the logo they use from pretty much the day that they came into being until about 2005, when they went to the swoosh logo. We've also got Greenbrier Leasing, which was very large with these Huskies. Still can see those quite a bit out there. And the cool thing with that is the one that comes with a container, that last one, is a Circle Cross BNSF. And you still see these containers out there to this day. Some 20 some odd years later, you still see them. And then last but not least, we've got Northwest Container. They had their own run of cars as well, and we've got them represented here. So these come in, they can be come separately, and they also come in 3-packs. So it's real easy to build up a really convincing intermodal setup here. Now, the other thing that's cool about these, even though they're N-scale, they've got fully metal etched walkways. They're not plastic; they're metal etched. So they definitely look the part. I mean, a lot of manufacturers might have just gone ahead and done a plastic version, but we all know in plastic and N-scale, that doesn't really hold up well under our eyes, whereas the metal etching does. That's one of the coolest detail factors about these cars. And of course, they're going to come with body-mounted couplers and the metal wheels. So again, those metal wheels work on code 80, 55, all the most common rail types in N-scale right now. And they're fully, they're fully ready to go. Just go ahead and take them out of the package and you're ready to go. Unless you want to weather them, they're all set to go. So like I said, anybody that's modeling the 1990s, mid-1990s, all the way up to today, these are a great car to consider. And again, if you're into intermodal, which a lot of N-scale guys are, then you're definitely going to want to pick these up for you. All right. So any questions about the Huskies? All right. For you guys that like the wide cab stuff, 6-axle and N scale, and I mean these work great on Fremo N. So definitely consider that if you're into Fremo N. Definitely check those out. Now you can't have Husky stacks without containers. So let me see if I can bring up the containers here for you. We're going to do a run of containers for these. And they're going to complement the Husky stacks. They're going to be the same, some of the same roads, but they're going to be for that era. So we're looking 90s into the mid 2000s. So here we go. These are the N-scale 48-foot containers. Most of these are going to be appropriate for the 90s. So a lot of you guys out there that are doing 90s, you're going to want to consider these. We've got the Conquest. Now these, I should say too, these come as a 3-pack. There's 2 different packs available, but they come in 3-packs. So when you order your Huskies, order a couple of packs of these. That will help you fill out your Huskies real quickly. We're doing the Conquest. Check out the CSX. That is very 1990s. You don't really see it like that anymore. We're also doing the Rail Bridge and the ITEL. And hey, check it out. More BNSF. You know, early BNSF right now seems to be pretty popular. And if you're into the early years of the BNSF, these are definitely going to be on your list. And then last but not least, we've got the Extra. So once again, these these are all ready to go. They're 2 packs, 3 in a pack. So you get 2 packs, you get you know, a couple of your cars all ready to go, and they easily stack together. I mean, they're just nice representations of, I'd say about mid 90s to mid 2000s intermodal. And of course, you don't have to put them on the Husky stacks. I've seen a lot of guys use these as almost a backdrop for some of the industrial stuff that we have on our shelf layout. So definitely a cool thing. Or you can also definitely use them in other aspects, whether it be on a truck trailer or things of that nature. All right, I saw a question out there. How about some prime for grime containers for the N-scale guys? Maybe eventually. We've talked about it. We've done it, I think, with the trailers, but we'll see. We'll see how things go with our containers. Usually containers in both HO and N-scale sell really well. So again, you're going to want to go ahead and get those orders in before the end of the month. Otherwise, you might see them and you might miss out. Let's see. All right. Looks like we got everybody taken care of here. And guys, if you see something that we're talking about and you're like, man, I wish you'd do this line or I wish you'd do that line, don't forget, we've got that product suggestion email over at Athern.com under the Contact Us page. And shoot us an email. Let us know, hey, can you do some of these? And like I said, we don't respond to those emails, so don't send tech questions or anything like that in there because we don't respond to them. What we do is we collect that. So if we get enough people requesting a certain road name, then that's how we'll consider it into the next run. All right, so we're going to go on to the final thing. So let's see. I'm thinking back here. We've talked about tank cars from the late 70s all the way to mid 2000s. We've talked about Huskies, Husky stacks that pretty much mid 90s to the 2000s even now. Are you guys from the 60s and 70s feeling left out? If you are, I've got some good news for you. let me show you what I've got for those who like to model in the 60s and 70s. Let's see. How about some covered hoppers? Now, you remember a couple of weeks ago, if you joined us, we talked about these in the ready to roll line, the HO scale. Well, we're offering the same ones in N scale. And it's pretty exciting because we've got some great roads here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on these so you can all see them. Now, you can't get mid to late 60s without talking about the Burlington. And the Burlington had a lot of these freight cars. Now, the freight car that we have here, the 2970, this was the last run to be Burlington. After this, Burlington was no more. It became Burlington Northern. But this was late 60s, 68, 69. And this was the last run. And kind of an interesting note for you Burlington fans out there. Previous covered hoppers were a set tone of gray, which was slightly darker. For whatever reason, this last run from ACF was a lighter gray, and it was very noticeable. If you've got some Burlington books and go through, you can see there's a slight different tint to the gray as the previous runs. Now, these are being offered in 2 singles, and they're also being offered in a 3-pack. And of course, the 3-pack, you have different road numbers, so you have the possibility of having 5 different cars here. And of course, just because it says late 60s doesn't mean you can't have these being pulled by a Cascade green locomotive. A lot of these stayed in their original Burlington paint for quite a few years. Some of them, I've seen pictures of Burlington cars as late as the 1980s. Up next, we got the ACF demos. Now, remember, these cars were brand new in the 1960s. They had come out from ACF in the mid-60s, and they did their own cars. And this is an example of one of the ACF demo cars. There's 3 different demo cars that we're doing in N scale, so each one has its own slogan. Each one of those cars that you see here, these are all being offered as singles. Those are different slogans. So that's kind of a cool thing that you can add to any of these covered hoppers in this line. And when you set these up at, say, an N-track meet, a Fremo N meet, even the T-track guys, people like to see the variety of the cars. They're gonna notice, hey, they look similar, but they've got different slogans, and people stop and look at that. And it's a great way to capture some attention at a train show. Now, somebody was asking earlier about Prime for Grime and N scale, and we hear you. We're doing these Grand Trunk Western covered hoppers. These went all the way into the late 80s, as you can see by the markings. And the Grand Trunk Western versions that we've got here, we've got 2 that are Prime for Grime, but we've also got a 3-pack. And the 3-pack all have different art than all the other ones that we're showing as the singles. And within that pack, I believe there's 2 gray GTNWs and 1 blue with the large GTW markings on it. And, again, these are late 1980s as indicated by the lube plates there. You still have the ACI panel on there, which, for you guys that model the 1970s in N scale, there's not a lot of manufacturers that provide you with the ACI labels on the freight cars. Pretty common in HO, but not as common in N scale. Up next, we've got the Missouri Pacific with Texas and Pacific reporting marks. You've got the Buzzsaw logo, which was very, very popular. And again, this is going to be about the 1970s. You got your ACI label there that you can just see. Really nicely done car. And then the final 2 that we're doing are the Norfolk and Western. This is a 1970s car. More of an early 80s car if you look at the lube panel there. Don't have the ACI label anymore. We're offering that in 2 singles and also a pack of 3. And then the Winchester and Western. This was really popular in HO. We had guys asking for this line. Now, this is, for all intents and purposes, more of a modern car. This is 2006 plus. And we're offering that in 3 single roads as well as a 3-pack. So you've got your opportunity there to have all 5 cars and have a really nice looking train. So these I'm pretty excited about. I mean, personally, I know I modeled in 1970, so a lot of these are going to be on my layout. Hopefully you guys enjoy these too. Now, the reason why I like these so much, and I'll show you in a little bit in pictures, is if you're like me and you have an industrial switching layout, it can be kind of, well, let's just say messy with some brands of freight cars. Now, these are weighted appropriately. They've got the metal wheel sets. So on my layout, it's a code 55. They roll extremely well through the turnouts. And then the body mounted couplers, which means I can push these into just about any siding, any spur, and not have to worry about derailments. That's the great thing about these little cars. As small as they are, they've got great detail, great painting. Really, the only thing I ever have to do with them is maybe do a little bit of weathering on them, and that's about it. All right. So N-scale guys, I mean, I've got you covered from basically the 1960s all the way up to modern times. If you didn't see something, and if you say, hey, Jim, you know, I'd really like it if you guys would do such and such, well, like I said, go to our Athern website and go to the product suggestion email and drop us a line. Let us know what you'd like to see maybe in the next run. And if we get enough requests for it, we will definitely consider that railroad. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, I've got a pretty full show for you guys, and I've got something new that I wanted to do. Like I said, we're opening up again. The country is slowly opening up, and I wanted to kind of highlight some of the things that are going on as far as shows, what's happening across the United States and into Canada. And I've got a special guest with us today. His name is Jacob Damron, and he's going to tell us about a prototype meet and share some pictures. So let me bring Jacob on board here. Hey, good afternoon, Jacob. How you doing?
Good, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, thanks for coming on board with us today. And tell us a little bit about your prototype meet, the name of it, and where you guys are going to be set up.
Okay, so last year should have been the inaugural for the Red River Prototype Modelers Meet. But obviously due to COVID, that had to be pushed back. So our inaugural year is this year. It is June the 26th, and we are going to be at the Forest Hill Convention Center, which is about halfway between Fort Worth and Dallas, for those of you who are maybe not as familiar with the Metroplex. So Dallas-Fort Worth gets you real close. The website is redriverrpm.org.
Great. So like you were saying, this was supposed to be the inaugural meet last year, but because of everything that's been going on. But the good news is you guys are coming out this year and doing it. Are you going to have vendors? Are you going to have some clinics?
We're going to have both. So we've had a real good response from the modeling community for this. As everybody knows, there's some wonderful RPMs across the country. Unfortunately, most of them aren't near Texas. Cocoa Beach, St. Louis, Benton, Los Angeles, Portland, Naperville. Texas has been excluded from this a little bit. So a couple of years ago, another passenger train fanatic, Kevin Letty, and I were sitting around talking, and it just kind of dawned on us, like, you know, why don't we try to put something together here? So through word of mouth and contacts, we've got 3 clinics going on right now. So we have Brian Wood of Railfan Models. Brian does much smaller production runs than somebody like Athern. And so Brian utilizes a lot of 3D printing and some other manufacturing methods for small volume that can't justify the tooling costs. So Brian's going to provide a clinic on up and coming technologies and how prototype modelers can leverage some of that manufacturing capacity for some of their really small production numbers for things they want to do. We've also got Jim Ogden, who's going to do a clinic on express cars and head-in mail traffic for those of us that spend all of our time and effort on passenger trains. And Dave Ostendano is going to do a clinic on the, I'm going to have to look this up so I don't butcher it, but he's a BNSF modeler. And there is a sub up in the Pacific Northwest that he is modeling, the BNSF Lakeside sub. So Dave's done a lot of information, research on that, and his home layout is incorporating that. So he's going to present a clinic on his research for about the first half of the clinic, and then the second half is going to cover the home layout that he's building with that.
Now, Jacob, you shared some pictures with me. In fact, I'm going to bring these up, and once we get these up on the screen to share, tell us a little bit about it. It looks like there's some great Rock Island modelers out there in Texas.
There's a few of us. I came by it honestly. My great uncle started with the railroad at the end of World War II. So what I've decided to do is on my Fremo module, you mentioned Fremo N, I'm Fremo HO. And I had the idea of trying to model Dallas Union Station from about a 1961, kind of 1963 time frame. Okay. So anybody who's familiar with Dallas or the unfortunate events of 1963 with the Kennedy assassination might recognize this bridge as the Triple Underpass.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This is the western side of it. So this is the side that's not as heavily photographed. If you're down at Dealey Plaza, you're going to see the other side of this.
Okay.
But the original plan for this was to use some Walthers components to kit bash and try to represent this. The more I got into it and the more research I did, as wonderful as the Walthers products were, they just weren't accurate for this bridge. So Ryan Harris, who's a pretty big name in the RPM community, was doing a lot of CAD work and 3D printing, and he introduced me to that. So this was about a 4-year project of measuring the bridge, drawing it in AutoCAD, and then working with shapeways and different materials to print.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, it's now this is on a Fremo module, you were saying. Is this a standard 18 by 4 foot module, or what's the physical size?
So the entire module set is almost 44 feet long.
Wow.
This module is comprised of 10 different modules. 3 of the ends meet the Fremo standard requirements, but the rest of the module, there's a fair number of tracks across there. Dallas Union Station had 10 passenger platforms. I was only able to model 6 of them without getting even larger than what it already is. So.
Wow. Very nice. You sent some other pictures too. I'm going to go ahead and scroll to those next, but beautiful job. I mean, that just shows you the opportunity you have with Fremo. You know, you can do some really great historic stuff and not be limited to a certain size, and then you can share it with the public. Now, tell me a little bit about this RPO you're working on here.
So this was another Walthers product. They made, I believe, they actually made the Santa Fe version of this, but it was really, really close to the Rock Island version. And it was a good model. I think it's an older model. I think the tooling on this one is maybe 20, 25 years, and it may not have been that old. But it just wasn't quite right for RPM. So I took the Walthers, disassembled it, and what you see here is a Walthers core with Union Station product sides, Mark Meeks, who is a real asset to the modeling community. If you have a very specific car you need to model and have the diagrams, Mark will make it. So this is layered up, Union Station sides, Archer rivets, Woody's product, and then the battery box underneath, that's another 3D print from me. The
Oh,
battery,
wow. Okay.
yeah. So the battery box that was supplied with it was a really nice battery box, and it's accurate, I want to say, for the Santa Fe, but it wasn't for this car. And then there's a sister baggage car to this as well. So that's another 3D product on that battery box.
Now, it's always a question for somebody that has maybe not gone this far into the prototype, but how many hours do you think you have in total on this car?
Oh, well, I hope my wife doesn't ever see this. There, well, that's a good question. Possibly in excess of 100 at this point.
Okay.
The trucks that were provided with this car were not accurate. They were accurate trucks, but not for this car.
Okay.
Another manufacturer, Rapido, makes the right trucks for this, but the bolsters won't. They're not interchangeable. So the bolsters you see in the car, the little bit lighter color, that's another 3D print.
Okay.
To accept the Rapido trucks into that car.
Very nice. Very nice. And now you also sent this picture. This looks like a lot of hours of work too. Tell me a little bit about this project.
So that is Rock Island 637B, and for those who don't know the Rock Island, up until the red sides with the yellow speed lettering, the Rock Island hid their B unit numbers inside the diaphragms on the end. So the rare photographs of an uncoupled B unit, or in fact, this one was derailed outside of Kansas City, so that's why I got the unit number. But the E7s and the E6s had overheating issues. Okay. So they were trying to do a passive radiator cooling on the roof, and it just didn't work. So there's air disruptors on the roof. The railroad tried. The Rock Island, and I think the Mopac expanded the radiators from 4 panels to 5. I know the New York Central, or the New York Central, the Pennsylvania, the Rock Island, Mopac, and I think even the TNP, when they had them, were cutting holes in the body, trying to just get airflow going.
Sure.
So this later on, this is about a 1962, 63 version. About late 63, 64, they started covering those open holes with louvers. So you'll see later models that had louvers on the side and almost like an air filter behind it, just to keep kind of road dust out from the engine bay.
Very nice. And then the last one that you sent me, this looks absolutely stunning. Just very stunning model. Tell us a little bit about this.
So that's I have a picture of that unit through Dalhart, Texas in 1963. And of course, by that point, the Rock Island was one of the financially weaker railroads. And stuff didn't get washed a lot. So there's some good opportunities for weathering with Rock Island equipment in the late to early or mid 60s. This one was the Proto E7 that they ran, and this one demonstrates what I was talking about. So on this model, they started adding holes to the side as well, but there's louvers on it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit.
So this one, I had the filled the holes in, and then used the Archer resin louvers to represent those. And in typical Rock Island form, there's 7 louvers on one side and 8 on the other. I just happen to have rare photographs of both sides within a couple of months.
Wow, that's huge, especially modeling a fallen flag such as the Rock Island. Well, so this is just a sampling of some of the things that any of us would see going to your prototype meet.
We have some really, really talented modelers here in Texas, and guys that are far better than what I do. Kevin Letty's extensive modeling work through the Toronto, Hamilton, and Buffalo, the New York Central, the Pennsylvania. Guys in the community, most of them recognize the name Ryan Harris and what Ryan does with stuff through the mid to late 80s. Ryan's CAD work and 3D printing and contributions are enormous. So we've got a lot of talented modelers in Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma that are going to be coming down, even guys from out of state. Dave Dane from Colorado, Dave Osmondano is coming down. So we're really excited, happy with the inaugural year, and we're really looking forward to getting prototype modelers together and providing a venue a little bit closer to Texas for guys to once a year to get together and show off and swap stories.
Well, that's great. Jacob, tell us once again the website where folks can get the information on the prototype meet.
Sure. It's redriverrpm.org.
Great. Jacob, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to come on board Train Tuesday and telling us about the event, and wish I could make it. I kind of started to get used to Texas weather. It turned 84 degrees here in Illinois, so I don't know, maybe. And I'm sure you guys got some good barbecue down there too.
We have some fantastic barbecue in Texas. That is absolutely correct.
Well, great. I'm glad to see that you guys are getting this together this year. This is really good. And guys, I'm sure you're looking for folks to bring their models. That's the fun part about an RPM meet. It doesn't even have to be done. Just bring your models, right?
Absolutely. One of the things that the RPM community and myself, we absolutely love is seeing not only the finished product, but the in-progress stuff. Every time I take a look at an in-progress model, I learn something new, a different technique, a new idea or concept. So I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. Well,
great. That is a lot of fun. If you've not been to an RPM meet, you do yourself some service and go ahead and go to an RPM meet. You really do learn some great things. Even if it's not the railroad that you particularly model, there's so much to learn. The great clinics, and Jacob, sounds like you're going to have some great guys on board showing us all the great ways to achieve what we need to do in our modeling, and we really appreciate that.
I appreciate the opportunity to come on and promote the event, Jim. We really do. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Jacob, and good luck with that event. And again, shoot out the website one last time for anybody that missed it.
It'd be the redriverrpm.org.
All right. Jacob, thanks again for coming on board, and good luck with the event.
Thank you so much.
All right. So like I said, if you've never been to an RPM meet, you owe it to yourself to go to one. And if the one here in Texas is close to you, then by all means go. This is the first time they're doing this show. Athern did sponsor them. So Athern and some other manufacturers got on board and helped folks like Jacob out. And yeah, it's great because Jacob saw a need in his area. He mentioned all of the different places in the United States where there are currently prototype meets, and Texas didn't have one. So he stepped up to the plate, and he's got himself a show, and we really wish him luck on that endeavor and hope he has a good turnout for that. So definitely looking forward to seeing that. Well, I've got some more news for you, and we've talked in the last few weeks about some new product that's coming in. You can probably see I've got some eye candy here for you guys. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Now, in the last few weeks, we have been talking a little bit about the GP18s, and we've got some great pictures I'll share with you here in just a little bit. Also wanted to show you some stuff that's going to be in stock coming up real soon. So let me go ahead and bring up what I've got. Now, again, I've got something for everybody today. I've got something for the N scale guys, and I've also got something for the HO scale guys. So let me go ahead and get that together for you. Now, remember earlier we were talking about those N scale covered hoppers. Well, we're going to have some new ones coming in stock here. Whoops, that didn't come out right. We're going to have some new ones coming in stock here pretty soon. We're looking at about mid-June that these will be available. And If you missed them, we probably announced these last May or last June. If you missed those, you're going to want to talk to your hobby dealer and see if you can get on board and get one of these. All right, let's go ahead and bring that up for you guys to see. All right, check that out. N scale, covered hoppers. Here's a cotton belt that's going to be available about mid-June. And again, these are going to have body-mounted couplers, metal wheel sets. Look at the detail on these. Now, I took these outside. These are not professional photos. I just wanted to show you guys, give you an idea, because the studio camera wouldn't do these justice. I wanted to get these close enough so you could all see them. Now, this cotton belt one here is perfect for 1970s. Remember, we've talked about this little guy here. We all remember what that's all about. So we're looking at right about 78, 79. This is perfect for that era of layout. Check out the Burlington Northern version. Again, 1970s. We got our ACI label right here. Now, this is N scale. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this so you can see, so you can appreciate. I mean, my eyes aren't what they used to be, but check out all of the printing that goes into one of these N scale cars. You've got your lube panels, you've got your ACI card. Look at all this information. Now, this picture doesn't do it justice, but you can read this. It's pretty amazing what the printing can be done nowadays. So N scale guys, just in time for the prototype meets, just in time for some of the shows. These are going to be available at your dealers. We're talking mid-June. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting on this, and I've got this one in the studio with me. I have not had a chance to run it yet, but these awesome AMD 103s are going to be in stock probably about mid-June. I can tell you, just looking at this, that picture does not do it justice. These are absolutely beautiful. They're Genesis, and they have got, this one's got the anniversary, the 71 to 2011. And like I said, these will be available in June. So I know a lot of you guys have been waiting on these. Now, I do have some bad news. Unless you pre-ordered these, you're going to have a hard time getting these. So if you're seeing this right now and you didn't pre-order these last May, get on the phone, get on the internet with your dealer now. There's a possibility that they have some extra that they can sell you, but that's a prime example. These sold like crazy. Pre-orders sold out very quickly. So whenever you see something on the show or on our social media that really is of interest to you, you really need to pre-order it. It's the only way to guarantee that you'll actually get the locomotive or freight car that you're looking for. These are really neat, and I can't wait to see these. I'll probably be running these here in a little bit at a local Fremo just to tease some of the guys. We're going to have to wait just a little bit longer, and they'll be here. Now, also, I mean, today's a covered hopper day, I guess. I tend to like covered hoppers. Check out these Genesis covered hoppers. These are absolutely beautiful. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see some of the detail. This Penn Central here is perfect for your 1970s, even early Conrail. Perfect freight car for that. You've got all the detail that you're looking for, your nice metal wheel sets. Look at the fine grab irons. Now, these two, we're looking at getting these in probably the beginning of June. These were announced last May, last June. Now, here's what we've been excited about, the GP18s, all new from Genesis. And I had picked up for myself the Norfolk and Western Jeep 7. So I posed it with the GP18 that we're doing. These are going to be out in June. And if you're a Norfolk Western fan, you're in luck, because there's a lot of stuff that we're doing here at Athern for Norfolk and Western. Don't forget, this month we're talking about the Norfolk and Western F units. We've got those in 3 different paint schemes, and we're also doing the ICC caboose. So if I were you, I'd go ahead, and if you're a Norfolk Western fan, I'd go ahead and order all of those and then pick one of these up in June. These are really beautiful locomotives. I've operated one of these GP18s on my home layout, and they're just flawless on the way they work. Really great sound. Just an overall really exciting release that we have coming out in just a few more weeks. Now, let me see if I've got some other pictures of some GP18s. Well, Chris Rippey, he sends me pictures from time to time too, and he took pictures of 6599. Now, here's something that's really interesting about 6599. I want to know if there's any Baltimore and Ohio fans out there, and I'm going to test your knowledge and see what I can find here. So something really interesting about 6599. Any Baltimore and Ohio fans out there want to tell me what's so interesting about 6599? Joel Ashcroft. I think you take the prize. No, it's not me. Sorry. One and only. That's right. This was the only GP18 that Baltimore and Ohio had. Ohio, you're probably thinking that this GP18 is shoving that boxcar into a siding. No, it's actually operating long hood forward. That's right, John. Baltimore, Ohio ran their Jeep long hood forward. And so we've mimicked all that. Now, 6599, the reason why it's kind of unique is it was originally a Jeep 9. The Jeep 9 was in a derailment, and there was some destruction involved, and so they sent it back up to LaGrange, and LaGrange was doing GP18s by then. So a little bit of work and became a GP18. And this was the only one they had. Now, another interesting fact, too, is this survived all into the Chessie era, but it did not get repainted. It had this same paint scheme the day it went to the scrap. So rather unique, and that's why there's only one Baltimore and Ohio in this release. If you're a Baltimore and Ohio fan, you're definitely going to want to pick this up because it's a really cool locomotive. Now, I'm showing this picture. We all know Tony Cook, right? Tony sent these pictures to me, and this is his dad, Terry, took this picture. And here is an Illinois Central GP18 9402. This was probably taken in about the mid-70s. And so you can obviously see we're already in the orange and white era of ICG. 9402 is wearing its same as-delivered paint scheme, the green diamond with the black thin pinstripe and the white sills. Looking a little worse for wear, but still earning its keep. 9402 is one that we're also offering. Here it is in happier times, fresh from the factory. Now you'll notice too that all the GP18s, they have road-specific details. Remember, the Baltimore and Ohio had the standard. It was pretty much a standard factory setting to have the bell up here behind the cab, but Illinois Central wanted their bells mounted on the nose and on the short end. They ran short hood forward. This is another picture by Chris Rippey. I want to thank Chris for getting these pictures to me. Northern Pacific, really cool paint scheme. This is a picture from the Kevin Udaly collection. 384 is another one that we're doing. If you like the Northern Pacific, then we've got 3 road numbers that are going to be offered. And really catchy paint scheme. So that is all I've got for you for new pictures today. Pretty exciting. I'm going to be sharing more of those pictures of the GP18. Now, like I said, talk to your dealer as soon as this show ends if you're interested in these P42s, because they sold out very quickly. And the GP18s, you may be in luck, but you know what? They run so well that I don't know. I'm pretty partial to them. I know I'm probably going to pick up the Burlington Northern version. Don't forget, there's 2 Burlington Northern versions. There's the typical Burlington Northern Cascade Green, and then there's the Northern Pacific, or former Northern Pacific, that's lettered and numbered for Burlington Northern. So if you're doing early Burlington Northern, you're definitely going to want to pick up those two GP18s. Really cool locomotives. I'm really happy with the sound. They have such great detail. And they're the perfect switcher. If you've got a small shelf layout and you're looking for a great little switcher, these GP18s lasted well into the 90s, depending on what road. You can always re-letter them and do them up for your own road, or some of those Burlington Northern units, they lasted quite a while. So definitely check those out, and they're going to be here about the middle of June. But we're gonna show you some more pictures of those. So there you have it. We're going to go ahead and get ready to do some rail fanning. I'm going to put this GP18 right here. Right here. I'm going to move this. Get a little bit of contrast here so you can see it, and just let you guys see that goodness right there. You can tell Jim likes GP18s and 7s and 9s. It's great locomotive. Really cool. All right. Now, I thought I had another picture I wanted to share with you, since we were doing so much N scale today. There we go. So what I'm excited about is this coming weekend in my local area. We've talked a little bit about Fremo as well. And Fremo is a great modular standard. If you're not familiar with Fremo, basically what Fremo is, it comes in both HO and N, but it's a set of modules that can be connected together. The standards are very specific so that they can connect. But between those connection points, you're free to do whatever you like. So they're not as rigid as some other modular standards. And they're very popular because guys that like to model branch line or industrial or things of that nature, they can do a lot of that. They're not limited to having 3 active tracks all the time. They can have 1 or 2. So I'll put him here too so you guys can see that. So Fremo is really popular, and this weekend here in Central Illinois, we're going to have a Fremo event. It's called the Cornfield Meet, and I'm going to be there all weekend, probably showing this GP18 as well as some other locomotives that we're coming out with. And myself, I'm not going as a representative. I'm actually going as an N-track guy, and I've got a picture here to show you that, yes, Jim does model. I know you guys don't really see as much of my modeling, but I figured I would show you a picture real quick of what we got going on. So there we go. And that's all Athern freight cars, those new Penn Central box cars that came out this past February. I had to grab those. This is just a cell phone picture, so it's not a great picture. But N-track this weekend and Fremo N this weekend. I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully I'll get to see some of you guys out there. If you're in Central Illinois, do a Google search for the Cornfield Meet. Good time. It's mainly Fremo HO, and there's guys coming from all over the Midwest. And yes, sharp eye modelers will notice that is a Boston and Maine. Do a lot of Boston and Maine CB&Q. All right, speaking of CB&Q, let's go to my favorite haunt. And I got to tell you, it's usually the most active of haunts that we go to when we go rail fanning. Let's go to a home of the CB&Q and the Santa Fe. Let's go to Galesburg, Illinois, and see what's running. The Train Tuesday curse. It strikes again. Let that get to a full screen here in a second. There we go. All right. Brian Cameron, he says, New Hampshire GP9. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about New Hampshire North Coast. And actually, if I remember right, they bought a New England Southern GP18, chopped the nose, and that GP18 was originally a Rock Island. How's that for a circle around? We already talked a little bit about Rock Island with the prototype meet. All right, let's see what we got for questions out there. Let's see. Yeah, it's no Train Tuesday. Yeah. Why does that always happen, Terry? The funny thing is earlier I had the Railcam on here. I was using it to see what was going on, and it was pretty active. Let's see. What do we have for questions? Oh, Brian, I see what you're talking about. That's not New Hampshire. That's New Haven. It's the black body GP9 with a red cab. That's actually New Haven. Has the same reporting marks as New Hampshire, but let's see. That went by really quick. Yes, Kyle. Thank you for reminding me. This coming Friday, 3:30 Central, we are going to be announcing the May announcement. So that's an important day, and it's important for two reasons. Why? You need to get in your pre-orders for this month. All those pre-orders close with your dealer on Friday. And you get to see what's coming out. And I already know what's coming out. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be happy. We've got something for everyone. I know I say that every month, but it really is true. We've got something for everybody. And I think you're going to be excited. But just don't forget to get these things that we've talked about the last month with your dealer. Let's see. Ricardo, I see your question. I'm sure we did. Please keep in mind, we do get a lot of pictures and a lot of requests. So our developers are busy. I think I mentioned last week that our developers locked me out of their area. They said, Jim, go away. Stop giving us more work to do. So they've got a pile of stuff they're going through. But yes, we do appreciate any pictures or data that you can send us because, you know, the GP18s that we've done this in this run. We've done Norfolk Western, Burlington Northern, Illinois Central, just to name a few. And we'll do more in the future, but we want to know what you guys want to see. So that product suggestion email is a great resource for both of us. Andrew, he has a wish. He says, Jim, I hope the AC 4400 CW HO is on the way. There's a lot of people hoping that, Andrew. There's a lot of people hoping that. Joel, yes, it really is called the cornfield meat because where I'm at right now, I'm surrounded by four corners of corn. It is Illinois, East Central Illinois to be exact. And yeah. Let's see. Chris, I don't know about the Cheyenne show. I haven't had anybody approach me, but when is the Cheyenne show? Is that a prototype meet or a train show? Let us know. Tyler. Jim, do you know if the rolling bearing caps are going to be on the new, I think you mean modern locomotives? As far as I know, yes. I haven't been told one way or the other, but typically we want to keep going forward. So I want to say that, yes, they will have rotating bearing caps. Not going to have shirts at the meet, Kevin. I might have some other things. So, Kevin, if you're close by, you swing on by, say hi. Yep, no worries, Tyler. I kind of figured you meant modern. My typing is not always that great either. It's a common mistake with me. Thomas, you got a good suggestion. I'll throw it up there. He says the N-scale 48-foot well cars is nice, but the AP version would set the Athern apart from the others who have done this car. Well, Thomas, I encourage you to go use our product suggestion email because you might be onto something. Let's see. Ben. Grand Trunk Western blue and orange paint, GP18s in the future. My vote would be yes. Absolutely. We'll have to see if we can convince the guys to do that. Get those comments in there into the product suggestion. I think that would be a logical one to choose. But again, you know, the guys in development, they've locked their doors because it's like being in a candy store. You know, I want a Burlington Northern GP39M. Oh no, I want a BNSF-9. No, I want a New Hampshire North Coast GP18. Yeah, they just locked me out. Bradford, you got a good suggestion too. I'll throw it up there. Rock Island GP18 maroon and yellow. Yeah. That would be nice. You could also, I'd have to check my resources. It's been a while since I've looked in my Rock Island books. I've got some here behind me. I'm trying to remember if any of those got painted in the fire engine red and yellow paint scheme. I know some of the 7s and 9s did, but, and then of course, depending on who you are as a Rock Island fan, the dreaded blue. Joel, yeah. ICG orange and white G's. I'm all for that. In my not so humble opinion, probably my favorite paint scheme of the IC was the ICG orange and white. I like that scheme. The black is classy, don't get me wrong, but, and you know, I know the white didn't hold up too well, but man, when they were clean and new, really, really cool. Let's see. Late Night Model Railroad. I'm glad you joined us again. Is there a favorite overall road name amongst Athern folks? Okay, so if you're talking about corporate, if you're talking about us at Athern, our favorite road name of all types is the ones that you guys ask for. We want to make sure that we're making stuff for you guys. It's not all about us. As far as myself and some of the developers and stuff, it runs the gamut. We've got guys out in Long Beach that, you know, they love SP, and rightly so. It was a great railroad. We've got some other modelers out there that do Denver Rio Grande. You know, here in Illinois, we've got a few folks like myself that enjoy ICG, Rock Island, of course, CB&Q, and then modern favorites like BNSF and Norfolk Southern. And then we've got guys from the East Coast too, and they like stuff, say Boston and Maine, Maine Central, Delaware and Hudson, things of that nature. So it runs the gamut, and that's the beauty of Athern is we've got so many guys that model their particular prototypes that we've got a wealth of information. We've got well over 75 years of knowledge just in our development team alone. Our development team is just incredible. And, you know, they're just a great resource because they live, eat, and breathe railroading in general. But good question, and definitely still enjoying your channel. It's a very good channel that you've got there. If you've not seen Late Night Model Railroading YouTube, he's got a great little channel. He's doing some switching layouts, and I'm envious of his woodworking skills. Very good woodworking skills. Let's see. There was a question here I wanted to get. Terry. Yeah, you're right. I always forget the Frisco. Another great line that doesn't get as much airtime as it should. Slowly just kind of melted under a sea of Cascade green. Let's see, what else do we have? Joel's got a product suggestion. I apologize. Apparently my my comments are slow moving as far as getting them onto the screen. Try that again. There we go, Joel. Joel's asking for a Genesis SW1200 in Washington Central. Wow, that'd be cool. I'd be all for that. SW 1200 in general in Genesis would be good. Have you been to the product suggestion? They're not going to listen to me, Joel. So please go to product suggestion email and submit that. They're just going to be like, nah, Jim just wants another toy. He just wants more. You know, people joke sometimes, what is Jim modeling? Whatever comes out. Let's see. Seen some good questions. Chris, I'm going to put yours up there because I think I haven't. Yes, I do have an answer for you. You wanted to know, did we manage to release the big boy 4414 DCC ready? I looked on your website and all I found was the DCC and sound. So basically what that means is we did release those, but they sold out. And we saw that happen with the big boys and N scale. I actually had an order in, but the pre-orders beat me to it. And so I missed out on the N scale big boys. And that quite often will happen. On a big release, such as the big boy in either HO or N, they will come to our DC, our distribution center. And they will go out as soon as they're processed. They go out to all the dealers that had pre-orders for them. And once in a while, we have a few that we leave in stock for dealers that want to order more. Maybe like yourself, you wanted to pick that up after the pre-order. And so sometimes that happens. But on a big release like the big boys and these P42s here, they go quick. So you probably just missed out on those. Check out some of them. Now that you've checked out our website, check out some of our bigger dealers. Depending on where you live, you can do a search and see if there's an Athern dealer near you, and they might have the locomotive you're looking for. Looking through. Seeing some good comments, some good stuff. Mike, you got a nice question here, so I'm going to give you the courtesy of putting that up there. Any thoughts to a Genesis Alaska Railroad F7s? Please no blue box variants. We also had them in black and yellow. Yeah, I'm not as well versed in the Alaska Railroad as you are, but it's a great suggestion, especially the later ones. Not the black and yellow, but I believe they were blue. Like I said, Mike, I'm not an expert on Alaska Rail, but it sounds like a great suggestion. If we get enough people asking for it, and if we can make what we have work specifically for Alaska Railroad, there's a good possibility that we could release those. Let me see. Tyler, I'll throw you up there. He says, I believe the Athern Big Boy is still in stock on other websites. It's really great model by Athern. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, it really is. It's a beautiful model. Yeah, definitely. They are in stock. Just because you don't see them in stock on our website, you got to realize we're the beginning. They go all out to the dealers and such. So definitely check some of these dealers because they might have them in stock. That is true, Wabash Valley. That's a pretty cool little short line. I believe so. You're going to have to stick around and see what we do them in, but stay tuned this summer too. Let me see. I saw some up here that I might have missed while I was answering those. I can't believe Galesburg is this quiet. This never happens except for when I bring you guys on board. Just kind of scroll through here real quick. Late night model railroading. He's looking for CSX dark future scheme locos. Anything coming around? Maybe some GP options. Well, honestly, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I think you should stop by Friday at 3:30. Definitely stop by Friday at 3:30 and see. We might have something that you're looking for. Yes, they are. We all know that they're right behind this camera. They're all like stacked up, just waiting. They're just hiding. Colin says, hello, Jim. I hope to see you at that local Fremo coming up. Well, yeah, definitely. Stop by and see me. If I'm not at the N-Track modules, I'll probably be walking around admiring all the Fremo. Fremo HO is really cool. If you don't have room for a layout, maybe you're an apartment dweller, and switching layouts are fun, but every once in a while you want to, get some wheels rolling, get some mileage going. Check out Fremo. Fremo is great. It's available in HO and N scale. There's some great clubs around the country, and it's just a great way to build a module or two and sharpen your skills in all different aspects of modeling, from woodworking to wiring to scenery and more. And then you get to be a part of a larger group. And I've seen the track layout that they're going to have this weekend, and hopefully I'll get to post some pictures and show you guys. But it's just amazing how big it's going to be. And it's not technically a show. It's pretty much just Fremo guys showing up for this. They're going to be operating. They're going to actually, operate trains. So they don't just always go in a circle. They go from point to point and switching along the way. So if you're interested in that kind of activity, definitely check out Fremo. It's very popular. At least here in the Midwest, it's very popular. Let me see. That's a good idea, Kevin. I don't know what the cell phone signal is like there, but yeah, I'd like to do some live feeds for the shows. Now, I've got some stuff. Man, I wonder if I could get late night model railroading to help me out, because his woodworking skills I'm just so jealous of his woodworking skills. But I've got some stuff I'm working on, and we'll have them done for some of the shows that will let you get to come to our booth and not only see the new stuff like we do here at Train Tuesday, but actually operate it. And I'm excited about that. I want to get out there and talk to you guys and get your feedback on our locomotives and talk about things like that. And wouldn't it be cool to be on a live feed? It's a great idea. It usually depends on cell phone signal and things of that nature. But yeah, you're too modest. late night model railroad. You're too modest. But yeah, we've got some stuff in the works, and I'm just so glad that we're going to be going out to shows again. So yeah, Tyler, kind of the same thing. If I can get an internet signal, I would definitely love to do that, and give us a chance to talk to you guys one-on-one on a live stream. I think it'd be cool. Christian, you're on Facebook, so you're on Facebook Live. He's on YouTube. So that's why you don't see his comments. We stream simultaneously on both YouTube and Facebook. So I can see all the comments. You're just seeing Facebook Live. That's why. Now, of course, this will be archived. It'll be on our not our website, our YouTube site. If you haven't wow, it's the end of the day, I can tell. If you have not subscribed, go ahead, give us a little, what do the kids say with the YouTube channels? Click the bell? No, click the subscribe and click the bell. So that way you're notified every time of a new video. And we are going to start doing some more videos. No royalties. Yeah, sorry, Kevin. Yeah. It's not YouTube. It's not U-Book or Facebook or PageBook. All right, guys. Well, you know what? The time has come. You guys have been a great audience. I really hope anybody that's in the Texas area, check out that Red River prototype meet. It's going to be a great time. Don't forget, for all of our fans out there located in the Midwest, we've got the prototype meet here in St. Louis coming up in July too. So I want to see you guys there. I want to actually talk to you guys and not just see something on the screen. I know you guys are awesome modelers. I want to take part in that and see what you guys have. Now, don't forget, we will be broadcasting live this Friday, 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Mark your calendar. We're going to be coming out with everything that's cool for May. So be here, check that out. And we're going to be doing something special too. Remember, we had the Prime for Grime contest. We are working on something special for that. And I've got a really cool crossover I'm working on in the Prime for Grime that we're going to learn some stuff from some fellow modelers that aren't necessarily trained guys. So more on that. And no, Kevin, the opposite of that. We're gonna close out the show like I always do. I want everybody out there to be happy, be healthy, stay safe, do some modeling this weekend, and do some modeling during the week too. And above all, I want to say, everybody, high greens. Have a great night, everybody, and thanks for joining us.